Hi, I'm AJ, and sadly, I was right. What about, you may ask? Well, Jeremy not being here for one. He's got an interview class thing, so good for him, but means you get to see my face again today. I'm sorry. The other thing being Sandy hitting the Northeast and how it's going to be devastating, well, it was, still kind of is. Right now there is just massive destruction, flooding everywhere. Major things just going on at this point that nobody even expected to happen just because, well, nobody knows what to expect with a hurricane up there. I'm sorry, and we know down here in Texas, but yeah, New York doesn't have a clue. Uh, Even going so far as to having to close Wall Street for the first time because of weather in 27 years. A lot of people very unhappy about that. It is absolutely insane. Not only that, fires after a hurricane. Oh, wow, I can't even comprehend how bad this is at this point. But over 50 houses that were flooded have now been burnt down in Queens because of the storm. So just please do something about this if you can. Donate, whatever. I know Mitt Romney was doing something, having a fundraiser thing for them, give food to them, that kind of stuff. Find something to do. Speaking of catastrophes at sea, terrible segue. A ship carrying 700 tons of gold has recently disappeared off the Russian coast. What was going on? A company was shipping this gold. It has only had a 9-person crew on board. Not really important to have many people, I guess, on a ship carrying gold. Anyway, the ship broadcast a distress signal. It disappeared. We really don't know what happened to it at this point. Just the fact that somebody now has 700 tons of gold. Oh, this is not going to be good. And for our last bit of bad news, well, I don't know, the day was saved, so I guess it's okay. Over in Japan, they're having a bit of a problem in their airports. Mainly, they keep finding bombs. Now, these aren't bombs from terrorists or anything, that modern day stuff. This isn't, a put together bomb or anything. This is actually a series of bombs that have been found dating back from World War II. Now, it's mostly been happening in the Sendai airport, and each time they find it, they have to shut it down. But this is just absolutely crazy to me that these bombs could not only survive this long, but from all reports, are fully intact. Now, they are taking care of the bomb squads getting in and everything, but for me, this just shows the absolute atrocity of wars. And even when the war is supposedly over, it will keep affecting people for generations to come. Really, before you start a war, try and do everything else you can first. And now, for starting the good news. Hopefully the rest is good. You'll see what I mean by the last story. This one coming out of Egypt, kind of tied to yesterday's with the whole Sweden buying up trash and everything. A student has found a way to easily and cheaply turn plastic into biofuel. Now, this student by the name of Azza Abdel Hamid Faid, I'm hoping I'm saying that right, has discovered that this catalyst will actually turn plastics into a fuel that we can use in cars and everything without really even changing our cars. This is a major step forward in green energy. Forget sunlight power, forget wind power. This is possibly one of the best ways to go because we're turning major amounts of trash into not only something profitable like energy, but something that could be shipped across the world. This is awesome. Hopefully this takes off and this catalyst isn't bought up by the gas companies like everything else. For the next story, I'm going to jump to sharks. Mainly a story that has come out of a research group that has found that shark brains are actually closer to human minds than we may have thought. And no, we're not talking about lawyers or whatever. We're talking about actually the visual centers of the brain. Turns out they're actually really close to ours. In fact, they could probably see as much detail, if not better detail, than our own. The main point of this story is actually the fact that they were looking for ways to develop repellents for sharks. I mean, recently gotten up in shark attacks, mainly because people have been going to the ocean more, water sports have become more popular, that kind of thing. So, well, the sharks have been attacking more. And with this new information, we found that we may actually be able to design swimsuits that visually turn sharks away. Something that may look like a snake or something like that. And, give them cues to say, don't eat us, we don't taste good. Because really, actually, we don't to sharks. And now for something completely different, because I have ADD. If you don't know, it is 2012. And for many of you, that might mean the end of the world. Well, I've been kind of against that for a while, if only because, well, we don't know when the end of the world's going to come. It's going to come when we least expect it. If everybody's expecting it on one day, it's not going to happen. Anyway, that's another discussion entirely. What this little story is about is the fact that modern-day Mayans, by the way, they exist. They did not die out a long time ago. They just kind of fanned out across the land and didn't improve it like we would. They're still there, and they're rather ticked off that we're taking one of their most sacred prophecies and turning it into something evil and doomsday-ish. In fact, they're really saying this is absolute deceit. We are completely ticked off about this. Stop saying this. This is actually a good thing that's going to be happening in 2012. Stop ruining it for us. Of course, if they do succeed in telling people that, they might mean that people don't expect the end of the world to happen on that day anymore, and then it might, And for our last story of the day, information has come out that I am actually quite ambivalent about. Like, really, I am either really for it or really against it. I'm really not sure what's going to happen. And that is the fact that Lucas Company has been bought up by Disney. Okay, and not only that, they're saying that episodes 7, 8, and 9 will in fact be made. In fact, episode 7 will come out in 2015. If you're not a big Star Wars fan, just so you know, the first 3 movies that were made are actually 4, 5, and 6, and then the next 3 were 1, 2, and 3 prequel kind of things. And George Lucas has actually said for the longest time that there was supposed to be a 7, 8, and 9, and that after a while he said, I'm just not going to do it. Well, Disney is now saying, yeah, it's going to happen. Not only that, George Lucas is not going to direct it, like he didn't direct the best Star Wars movie, or at least according to many people, The Empire Strikes Back. And he's just going to be a creative consultant, which really he should have been all along. He comes up with these great ideas, sure, but he's not the greatest director, as many people may agree. At the same time, this also brings up to mind the possibilities of other things like Indiana Jones that don't suck, and that kind of stuff. Spreading around in the Disney world. I don't know exactly how good this is going to be in terms of just, in general, Disney owning Lucas, because they did do John Carter, and that really sucked, but that's more just because of a PR thing. At the same time, they did, they bought up Marvel and did the Avengers, and that was a really good thing. So, you tell me. Do you think it's going to be good? Do you think it's going to be bad? Do you think it's going to be kind of middle? Whatever. I don't know. Tell me. But that's it for the show today. If you liked it, like it over here, favorite there. Subscribe up there if you have not already, because, that's how we get better and bigger and all of that kind of stuff. Share us Twitter, Google+, Facebook, phone, whatever, text messaging. I don't know. Just share us, please. And always, be aware. I'm gonna jump to charts. Charts? Really?